Welcome back, fellow gamers and Star Wars enthusiasts. Today we're embarking on an epic journey through a galaxy far, far away, on the tiny screen of the Gameboy Advance. That's right, we're diving into the nostalgia-filled world of Star Wars games on everyone's favorite handheld brick. Now, before you ask, no, we won't be using a lightsaber to play, though that would be pretty cool. Instead, we'll be using our nimble thumbs and quick reflexes to navigate these pixelated adventures. Get ready for some questionable graphics and a whole lot of force-powered fun. So buckle up, grab your Game Boy Advance, and let's rank every Star Wars game in the GBA universe. Star Wars Jedi Power Battles on the Game Boy Advance was released over a year later than its original PlayStation counterpart. This game attempts to loosely follow the plot of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Brace yourself as you're given the option to suffer through playing as Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, or Mace Windu, with the added insults of unlocking Darth Maul as a character. Prepare for a bumpy-filled ride with missed opportunities, lackluster gameplay, and a sinking feeling of regret. May the Force be with you because you'll need to endure it with this lackluster Star Wars experience. Let's give credit where credit is due. Character selection in this version is like a limited edition action figure set. Sure, it's smaller compared to its console counterpart, but hey, at least we have a few Jedi to choose from. I mean, who doesn't love having options, right? My initial impression was like a false hope from Jar Jar Binks himself. I thought, hey, this game isn't that bad, but oh boy was I in for a surprise. As I ventured further into the galaxy, everything spiraled into a Sarlacc pit of disappointment faster than you can say Wookiee. Get ready to swing your lightsaber in the same mind-numbing pattern over and over again, like a malfunctioning droid stuck in an infinite loop. First things first, let's talk about the Force, or lack thereof. I don't know if I missed the memo, but I couldn't figure out if this game even had Force abilities. Maybe I'm just a confused bantha, or maybe the Force went on vacation in this timeline. Either way, it left me scratching my head and wondering if I accidentally stumbled into a Jedi retirement home. Now let's take a leap, or rather a stumble, into the platforming department. Oh, the horror. I couldn't tell if I was about to gracefully land on a platform or faceplant into the abyss. Camera angles seem to have a mind of its own, playing hide and seek with any semblance of clarity. Darth Maul. The epitome of coolness and badassery. Or so we thought. Playing as the iconic Sith Lord felt more like a tedious chore than unleashing the fury of the dark side. His animations crawled at a snail's pace compared to every other character, making him the laughingstock of the Sith Academy. When a game lets you embody Darth Maul and it doesn't capture his essence, you know something is terribly wrong. It's like facing a droid army armed with nothing but a rubber chicken. Disappointing to say the least. And now, brace yourselves for the grand finale, the final boss fight, or should I say the snooze fest of the century? Just take a look at how mind-numbingly boring it looks and how it sounds. It's like watching two droids engaging in a round of galactic bingo. Where's the excitement? Where's the epic showdown that leaves you on the edge of your seat? Nowhere to be found, my friends. It's a dull and lackluster spectacle that makes you question the meaning of life in the Star Wars universe. So in summary, Star Wars Jedi Power Battles on the Game Boy Advance is like a moisture farm on Tatooine. Dry, disappointing, and not worth the hype. It's a game that teases you with a glimmer of hope, only to deliver a Jar Jar level letdown. Save your credits, young Padawans, and venture into other galaxies far, far away for a more enjoyable gaming experience. Flight of the Falcon, developed by Pocket Studios and announced by THQ on June 23, 2003, this game took players on a ride through the original events of the Star Wars trilogy. Initially set for a summer release, the game's launch date was later rescheduled to November 21, 2003. In Flight of the Falcon, you assume the roles of the legendary Han Solo and his loyal companion Chewbacca as they join forces to aid in the defeat of the oppressive Empire. The game grants you access to 4 playable vehicles. Take control of the iconic Millennium Falcon, Luke's land speeder, an X-Wing, and a speeder, each with its unique set of abilities and firepower. While faithfully following the events of the original trilogy, Flight of the Falcon also offers additional levels, including a showdown against Boba Fett and his Slave One. Flight of the Falcon presents itself as a relatively straightforward 3D aerial shooter, one that might have appealed more to a younger version of myself. However, despite my best efforts to find positive aspects about the game, I find myself struggling to do so. While I genuinely want to appreciate and enjoy Flight of the Falcon, it proves to be quite challenging. Engaging in dogfights and blasting TIE fighters out of the sky can be considered decent at best. The opportunity to pilot the Falcon is undoubtedly a standout feature, and some of the backgrounds in certain levels possess a visually appealing quality. Inclusion of bonus levels such as the thrilling chase after Boba Fett demonstrates a promising concept. Additionally, the bonus game that transforms the gameplay into a side-scrolling shooter provides a simple yet enjoyable experience, representing the most entertainment aspect of the game for me. In truth, Flight of the Falcon feels akin to being a child eagerly anticipating a fantastic present on Christmas morning, only to unwrap a pair of socks. It's a profound disappointment that fails to meet expectations and leaves much to be desired. Flight of the Falcon takes a phrase, "May the Force be with you," a bit too literally by testing your patience with severe performance issues. Choppy frame rate turns your smooth flying experience into a bumpy ride that would make even the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive jealous. It's like trying to navigate an asteroid field blindfolded while juggling thermal detonators. And let's talk visuals, or lack thereof. The game's idea of differentiation between enemies and stars is like trying to spot a Wookiee in a crowd of Ewoks. It's a visual mishmash that leaves you scratching your head and questioning your Jedi powers of perception. Is that a TIE fighter or just a twinkling star? The confusion is strong with this one. Oh, and don't get me started on the mission involving Luke's landspeeder. It's a headache-inducing experience, both figuratively and literally. The disorienting visuals are like a lightsaber duel with a migraine, making you wish you had a force power to heal your throbbing temples. Identifying objects and understanding the surroundings turns into an epic quest worthy of a Jedi master. Each mission follows a pattern more predictable than R2-D2's beeping. You start with a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, something exciting will happen, but alas, it's the same old song and dance, like a Bith band playing a never-ending cantina tune. The lack of variety and repetitive level design makes you wish for a little rebellion against the repetitiveness. In the grand scheme of Star Wars games, Flight of the Falcon is a Falcon that failed to make the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. The potential of experiencing the original trilogy from the Millennium Falcon's perspective had us dreaming of epic space adventures. Instead, we're left with disappointment as crushing as a trash compactor on the Death Star. It's a game that will forever remain in the dark corners of my memory, reminding us that not all Star Wars games can soar among the stars. Star Wars Episode II Attack of the Clones received a video game adaptation that was released by THQ and LucasArts in early February 2002, preceding the film's release. The game aimed to capture the essence of the movie, but had mixed reviews and was considered to be below expectations. Star Wars Attack of the Clones on the Gameboy Advance holds a unique place in my gaming journey. It's one of the few GBA titles that I found myself revisiting multiple times, even though I don't have a strong sense of nostalgia associated with it. Pinpointing the aspects I appreciated in this game proves to be a challenge, primarily because my enjoyment varied from level to level. Some levels resonated with me while others left much to be desired. One standout mission that I truly relished was the exhilarating pursuit of Jango Fett's Slave 1 in Obi-Wan's Starfighter. The visuals in this particular flying segment appeared clearer and more engaging compared to the rest, contributing to an overall enjoyable experience. Additionally, the boss fights in this game left a lasting impression. While it's true that all three Jedi characters share identical attack combinations and abilities, assuming the role of Mace Windu in the Geonosian arena and engaging in a fierce battle against Jango Fett stands out vividly in my memory as one of the most thrilling moments. The intense clash between the iconic characters added a layer of excitement and elevated the overall gameplay experience. The game's strengths could be found in specific levels such as the thrilling chase and the memorable boss encounters. While not without its flaws, it provided glimpses of excitement and action that captured the essence of the Star Wars universe. Also, Star Wars Attack of the Clones introduces the most overpowered force ability ever seen, the Jedi Force handgun. First, let's talk about the lightsaber combos and force abilities, or should I say lack thereof. It's like having a droid with all the gadgets but only getting a beep and a boop. The repetitive and monotonous gameplay makes you wonder if the Jedi Council forgot to send in the memo about cool moves and flashy tricks. It's a lightsaber party with no disco lights. And the platforming, oh boy. It's like trying to navigate the treacherous swamps of Dagobah without Yoda as your guide. You never know if you'll gracefully land on a platform or end up plummeting into the abyss faster than you could say, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." The lack of clear visuals and frustrating camera angles add a pinch of spice to the platforming disaster recipe. story. The levels, my dear Padawans, are as lengthy as the debates in the Galactic Senate, and just like those debates, they lack excitement and fail to introduce anything new. It's like being stuck in a time loop with no escape, going through the same motions over and over again. Where's the fun in that? The game desperately needed a sprinkle of spice to keep things fresh and engaging. Now let's talk about those vehicle levels. Picture this, you're zooming through the galaxy in a ship that looks like it needs a good polish. The scenery is as dull as C-3PO at a stand-up comedy show. It's like flying through a cloud of space dust, hoping for something visually pleasing to catch your eye. Sadly, those moments are as rare as finding a decent haircut on Tatooine. In summary, Star Wars Attack of the Clones on the Game Boy Advance falls short of the epic lightsaber battles and thrilling adventures we all hoped for. The lackluster lightsaber combos and force abilities, coupled with frustrating platforming, lengthy repetitive levels, and lackluster vehicle experiences, make it feel more like a trip to the Mos Eisley Cantina without the catchy tunes and lively atmosphere. It's a missed opportunity to embrace the full potential of the Star Wars universe on a handheld console. May the Force be with you if you decide to embark on this less than galactic adventure. LEGO Star Wars, the video game, made its debut in August 2005 on the Game Boy Advance. In this unique adaptation, you'll experience a LEGO-inspired retelling of the iconic events from the prequel trilogy. The Game Boy Advance version offers an isometric perspective, giving players a different visual experience. With a roster of 15 playable characters, you'll have the opportunity to control some of your favorite LEGO Star Wars heroes and villains. Having played this version for the first time, I must say I don't quite understand why LEGO Star Wars on the Game Boy Advance receives so much criticism. It's a game that seems to cater well to a younger audience, and I can appreciate that. One aspect I enjoyed is the fact that each character possesses a unique special ability. Obi-Wan's force push and Anakin's lightsaber throw are just a couple of examples. Another positive for me is that the levels don't feel overly lengthy. They're quite manageable and easy to breeze through. The sound design is decent, and unlike some other games on this list, the visuals aren't downright horrid. While the animations may not be mind-blowing, they're still quite good. Overall, I see the appeal and find myself having a decent time with LEGO Star Wars on the Game Boy Advance. The character roster in this game is severely limited, with only 15 to choose from. It's disappointing considering the console version offers a much wider selection. What's even more frustrating is that some of the character models are basically clones of each other. Not those clones. Anakin from episode 3 looks identical to Obi-Wan from episode 1. Come on, they could have put a bit more effort there. Speaking of disappointment, the game is incredibly short. With a measly 14 levels, it's over before you know it. And let's not forget the repetitive nature of the gameplay. The combat is painfully basic, and while each character has a special ability, it doesn't do enough to spice up the combat experience. Puzzles in this game are just okay, nothing to write home about. The lack of challenge is understandable for a LEGO game, but in this condensed version of LEGO Star Wars, it feels particularly underwhelming. Star Wars: The New Droid Army released in November 2002 for the Game Boy Advance. This action-packed game puts you in the shoes of Anakin Skywalker right after the events of Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Tasked with investigating rumors of separatists developing a new breed of droids that are impervious to lightsabers, you embark on a thrilling mission to uncover the truth. Presented in an isometric perspective as Anakin Skywalker, you wield your trusty lightsaber to attack enemies and expertly deflect incoming threats. But that's not all. Throughout your playthrough, you'll unlock and utilize 5 distinct force abilities, adding a strategic element to your combat arsenal. My initial impression of the game's visuals may have led me to underestimate its true potential. However, I was pleasantly surprised by the sheer enjoyment that Star Wars: The New Droid Army offers. The variety of lightsaber combinations available truly impressed me, and the weighty feel of the lightsaber added to the immersive experience. The combat mechanics in general exceed my expectations, keeping me engrossed and eager to continue playing. Considering it's a Game Boy Advance title, the abundance of animations in Star Wars: The New Droid Army is truly impressive. The attention to detail shines through, creating memorable moments. One particular standout was the final duel with Count Dooku, which left me in awe. The animations were so well executed that it genuinely felt like a lightsaber duel straight out of a movie. It took multiple attempts to defeat him, but the immense satisfaction I felt after emerging victorious made it one of the most gratifying boss battles I've ever experienced in any game. In addition to its impressive visuals, the audio design of Star Wars: The New Droid Army deserves applause. Every theme and sound effect resonated crisply, enhancing the overall immersion and contributing to the game's high-quality experience. I must express my honest opinion regarding the visuals of the game. and unfortunately, the isometric view does not resonate with me. While I understand the intention to create a 3D-like experience, it fails to capture my interest or enjoyment. Another aspect that left me wanting more was the size of the levels. Rather than adding to the gameplay experience, the large gaps between points A and B often resulted in frustrating moments of aimless wandering. The lack of a clear and streamlined path hindered the overall flow of the game. One particular drawback that impacted my experience was the absence of power-ups to restore health or the force meter. This meant that when my character's health was low, I had no choice but to pause and wait for regeneration before proceeding to face more enemies. This interruption to the game's fluidity proved to be a disappointment. LEGO Star Wars 2: The Original Trilogy on the Game Boy Advance released in September 2006. This game introduces new features like the Mos Eisley Cantina Hub, more unlockable characters, and exciting vehicle levels. In LEGO Star Wars 2, you play through the events of the original trilogy. Upon diving into LEGO Star Wars 2, I couldn't help but think, oh no, it's just a reskin version of the first LEGO Star Wars game. However, as I played on, the differences became more apparent and my initial impression was proven wrong. One notable addition is the inclusion of the Mos Eisley Cantina, which adds a refreshing element to the game. It's great to see this feature borrowed from the console version, providing a new hub area for exploration and interaction. I was pleased to discover that LEGO Star Wars 2 offers an expanded character selection. Unlocking new characters in the cantina adds excitement and variety to the gameplay, addressing one of the limitations of the original game. Another significant improvement is the introduction of companions during the playthrough. Having fellow characters join you on your journey enhances the overall experience and makes the game feel less solitary. Additionally, the ability to switch between characters seamlessly adds a new level of fluidity to the gameplay. While LEGO Star Wars 2 maintains the same isometric view and graphics as its predecessor, there was something about it that felt more satisfying. Perhaps it's a subtle enhancements in performance or an overall refined experience, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time with LEGO Star Wars 2. LEGO Star Wars 2, similar to its predecessor, is relatively short, allowing players to complete the entire game in just a few hours. However, during my playthrough I did encounter some levels that felt a bit perplexing. It's possible that the graphics and limitations of the platform played a role, as there were instances where I struggled to differentiate between platforms and background elements. At times, what seemed like an entrance turned out to be a mere part of the background, leading to some confusion. Star Wars Trilogy Apprentice of the Force, an action platformer released on the Game Boy Advance on September 22, 2004, takes players on an exciting journey through the events of the original Star Wars trilogy. Developed using the same engine as Prince of Persia: Sands of Time for the Game Boy Advance, this game immerses players in the role of Luke Skywalker. Starting with a blaster, players gradually unlock new abilities as Luke harnesses the power of the Force, transforming into a skilled Jedi. Alongside the platforming action, Apprentice of the Force features exhilarating ship-flying segments where players navigate through obstacles and engage in combat with other vehicles. Throughout the game, players encounter minor puzzles and face the responsibility of protecting key NPCs like R2-D2 and Leia. Notably, Apprentice of the Force offers thrilling boss fights against iconic characters such as Boba Fett and Darth Vader, adding an extra layer of excitement to the gameplay experience. There's something truly special about this game that resonates with me. It creates a sense of relaxation and an irresistible desire to keep playing for hours on end. Let me begin by highlighting what I truly enjoyed. The combat, although straightforward, remains engaging due to a frequent introduction of new abilities. These additions kept me captivated throughout the gameplay experience. The ambush moments where the side borders darken and waves of stormtroopers attack from all directions are undeniably cool and stand out as some of my favorite moments. Successfully dispatching a wave of stormtroopers swiftly and flawlessly without taking any damage feels immensely rewarding. Furthermore, the diverse range of blasters available in each level adds to the excitement, with some significantly more powerful than others. The sheer satisfaction of one-shotting stormtroopers is undeniably badass. Another aspect I appreciated was the gameplay sections that required protecting NPCs. Contrary to my expectations, the NPCs proved to be incredibly useful. R2 excelled in opening doors and could heal himself, while Leia would eliminate most of the stormtroopers on your behalf. Flying segments, characterized by their simplicity, offered pure joy. The addictive dogfight combat mechanics left me thoroughly pleased, and the vehicle sections as a whole were praiseworthy. The impeccable sound effects further elevated the experience. The impactful blast sound when targeting stormtroopers and the authentic audio of TIE fighters created a truly satisfying auditory immersion. Ultimately, Apprentice of the Force serves as an excellent representation of the original trilogy and successfully captures its essence. Regrettably, it seems like the game's soundtrack got lost in a galaxy far, far away. John Williams' iconic compositions took a wrong turn and ended up sounding like they were played by a tone-deaf Jawa band. And don't get me started on the opening crawl theme. It was like hearing a malfunctioning astromech attempting a symphony. As for the visuals, they took a detour to the dark side. Instead of immersing us in stunning cinematic scenes, we were treated to still shots that looked like they were drawn by a moisture farmer with a shaky hand. It's a challenge to decipher what's going on when everything resembles abstract bantha art. The level design decided to take a leisurely stroll through the same monotonous corridor over and over again. It's like the Death Star architect had a love affair with repetition, and every door and corridor is a copy and paste masterpiece. In a galaxy filled with other Game Boy Advance titles that managed to tell compelling stories through visually appealing means, this game just didn't make the jump to Lightspeed. It's a missed opportunity to create a more immersive and visually stunning experience. Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, released on May 4, 2005, serves as a direct tie-in to the film of the same name. On the Game Boy Advance, Revenge of the Sith takes the form of an engaging side-scrolling beat-em-up, allowing players to relive the thrilling events of the movie. In this game, you have the option to embody either Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi, each offering a unique gameplay experience and divergent paths that align with the film's narrative. Your choice of character will shape your journey through the game, ensuring a dynamic and distinct gameplay perspective. As you progress through the levels, notable enhancements await your character. You will have the opportunity to upgrade their attacks and abilities, unlocking new and powerful skills to expand your arsenal. These upgrades can be acquired using customization points scattered throughout the levels. Revenge of the Sith holds a special place in my heart as my favorite Star Wars movie, and I've had the pleasure of experiencing the console version multiple times. For this video, I delved into the handheld version for the first time, and I must say I was blown away. The level of variation in combat is truly impressive. With a wide array of lightsaber combinations and intriguing force abilities at your disposal, each encounter feels fresh and exhilarating. The abundance of diverse enemy types further enhances the thrill of the gameplay. Revenge of the Sith on the Game Boy Advance is nothing short of amazing, and it was a struggle to tear myself away from it. The combat mechanics in this game are exceptionally satisfying. The animations depicting the dismantling of droids are superb, and the lightsaber animations are truly stellar. As you gradually upgrade your force abilities, you become an unstoppable force akin to a Jedi tank. Personally, I found the lightsaber throw and the force choke to be the standout abilities, though there is nothing quite like using force pull to draw an enemy closer and swiftly dispatch them. If you've ever wanted to feel like a Jedi, I encourage you to experience this game. One aspect that Revenge of the Sith excels in is its boss fights. The lightsaber duels in particular are expertly crafted. Instead of mindlessly spamming the attack button, you must study your opponent's patterns, master the art of blocking both high and low strike, and time your counterattacks to perfection. This added layer of depth elevates the boss fights to a whole new level within the realm of side-scrolling beat-em-up games on the Game Boy Advance. Moreover, the aesthetic presentation of the game is a visual feast for the eyes. The backgrounds never fail to captivate, showcasing a wider range of captivating and diverse landscapes. The artistry in Revenge of the Sith is simply beautiful, from the beautifully designed characters to the seamless storytelling and everything in between. This Game Boy Advance title exudes a level of polish that is truly commendable. I cannot stress how highly I recommend this game to fellow enthusiasts. While there are many positive aspects to highlight about this game, it's true that there isn't much to criticize. The only minor complaint I have is regarding the game's length. Completing the journey as Anakin and Obi-Wan will take you a mere 2 hours, which left me wanting more. It would have been wonderful if the game had been extended to offer a lengthier and more immersive experience. Additionally, I couldn't help but feel that the inclusion of side-scrolling vehicle levels would have been a fantastic addition. These segments would have injected a fresh and exhilarating gameplay element into the mix, providing an exciting break from the main beat-em-up mechanics. It's a missed opportunity that could have added another layer of enjoyment to an already fantastic game. Revenge of the Sith on the Game Boy Advance delivers an exceptional gaming experience. With its captivating combat, polished animations, engaging boss fights, and visually stunning aesthetics, this title stands as a shining example of what a handheld Star Wars game can achieve. It has earned its place as one of my all-time favorite games on the Game Boy Advance, and I enthusiastically encourage others to embark on this unforgettable Jedi journey. Thank you for joining me on this epic journey through the vast galaxy of Star Wars games on the Game Boy Advance. We've explored lightsaber battles, piloted iconic starships, and embarked on thrilling adventures all on the small screen of the Game Boy Advance. From the highs of intense gameplay to the lows of frustrating graphics, we braved it all to bring you our rankings. Remember, these rankings are just one Padawan's opinion, and the force is strong with each game in its own unique way. Whether you agree or disagree with my rankings, one thing is certain: the Star Wars universe has provided us with countless hours of entertainment, imagination, and joy. We've laughed, we've cried, and we've experienced the highs and lows of being a Jedi, a Sith, or a daring pilot. As we conclude through this journey, I encourage you to continue exploring the galaxy of Star Wars games for yourself. May you find hidden gems, unforgettable moments, and the joy of immersing yourself in a galaxy far, far away. Thank you for joining me on this adventure, and until we meet again, please make sure to like the video, comment with your favorite Star Wars game on the Game Boy Advance, and subscribe not to miss out on any future content. May the Force be with you always.